Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special guests in the building. We got Currency and Jermaine Dupri.
Yes,
JD.
indeed.
What up?
What up? What's going on, fellas?
And what's happening?
Just chilling, making moves.
What this look like? How this
Roll
collaboration?
Yeah, how this come together?
Roll out, that's all. Yeah.
How this collaboration came about?
Man, I did a record on this Harry Fraud album I did. Then I named the record Jermaine Dupri. Because it reminded me of when I seen bro on MTV Cribs. So it made me speak on it, name the record after homie. Then he heard it. And he hit me and was like, just come to the studio. Like, you should come through. Like, let's do a record. Well, what I thought was just come do a record. But then when we jammed up, like, it felt right. And fuck, we never stopped working.
But y'all always cool with each other? Or did y'all know each other? With just not at all.
No. And as soon as we jammed
So
up,
y'all never really.
as soon as we jammed up, it was like on Step Brothers. It was like, yo, like you, for real, like did we just become like best friends, dog? Like we just jammed up. Just now we got so many records.
Man, let's go back to that MTV Cribs thing, right? Because, you know, nowadays when you see rappers doing that shit look like just everybody flossing. But back then it really used to inspire people. So talk about that.
Yes, like dude had the iceberg sweat on. Just all the stuff that was out of my reach at that time. You know what I'm saying? And like they always say like how kids like saw Black Panthers like, yo, he look like us. Like I'm like, nah, this nigga look like us. Like this it right here. You know what I'm saying? So you could do it. Cause the only people I ever seen on that was like I keep telling them was Hulk Hogan, and like Britney Spears' house and shit like that. And then bam, here he comes. Like yeah, this hard.
But let's talk about that. What do you think the difference is back then? Because I remember seeing JD, right? The first time I seen an exotic sports car was JD had the Lambo with the Aventadors with the doors up, and he put the kits on it. So for me, it wasn't like flossing; it was inspiring, right? When I used to see Swizz or Hove, it was Busta. It was inspiring. Yeah. Why do you think people don't look at it now as inspiring? And now they look at it like, oh, he flossing. Why do you think it's the difference?
They are. That's what they doing. They trying to floss. I mean, you know, it got to a point where like people, you know, it was a TV show and they was trying to make a show. And they started actually renting houses for people that didn't have houses. They started renting cars for people who so that their situation would look the same as whoever they had on the show. I think that's where they messed up. You know what I mean? That's where they took that part of what you're talking about out because I mean, the last one I remember was when like they tried to do that with Redman and Redman was like, nah, I'm gonna take you out of my house in Jersey. Right. And it was like a, you know what I mean? He stayed in like a townhouse, right? And they was trying to give him a house and car, and he ain't want to do it. So, I mean, you know, that's pretty much what happened. Is like people just was like, nah, let's fake it and make it look like this is my house and these are my cars.
Redman's episode was as impactful.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
To me, for real, dude had a stack of video games and shit. I was like, well, I could also. This is me too. I could also do this too if I got in the game. Yeah.
And also, I think because you knew that whoever was on Cribs back then actually worked for that. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's just like you can stand in front of somebody's mansion and stand in front of somebody's family. Like, well, we're asking, what do these people do?
That's true.
We didn't have what JD did back then. We knew what he did.
Yeah. For sure.
So how was it working with JD?
It was like, you know, honestly, it was like a dream, bro. Because I've been in the game for a long time, and just on the outside looking in, that's one of the people that I figured, you know, that was like somewhere else. That's out of space. You know what I'm saying? So you speak on it. You know, I named the record Jermaine Dupri. I never thought I was going to fucking meet Jermaine Dupri or anything.
That's wild that y'all never met. That's wild.
You know what I'm saying?
Because y'all both be outside. Like
but
especially like y'all be outside.
Yeah, but it's two different.
It's two different worlds.
Realms. You know, like
worlds. Completely. Like
he's outside in his group of people in the section. May include like who? You want to just throw names around?
Usher.
All right, and it's me and the homies. So we not going. It's not gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's just great that it did, and it's like when I thought I was gonna go to the NFL or the NBA, I used to look on the back of the cards and look at people's birthday and see who would be in the league when I got there. You know what I'm saying? And like this is like that shit. This is exactly like that.
How was working with Currency?
It's dope, you know. It's because it's interesting because we never talked about songs, right? Usually I talk about what we gonna do prior to even making a beat. He rolling up, I'm making a beat. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even know if he know what's happening. But it just happened. We never made one record where we talked about what we were gonna do. It just organically happened. So I felt like, you know, the first 5 records that I saw this happen, I'm like, oh, this is something this is what organic, I guess, feels like, or it means, right? And by the time we got to 10, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really something different than what I usually, you know. Usually it's a process of like, we gonna make a song like this, and we need to make a record like this, and we need to do this and put this person on there. We ain't had none of them conversations, but we got to that process at the end of the songs. You know,
As the legend you are, JD, when you saw him name the song after you, how did that make you feel? Because let's be real, people don't give you the credit you deserve, man.
Not at all.
That was crazy. You know what I mean? I feel like that was like that's the thing. I said the least I could do is do a record for him. You know what I mean? That's the least I could do, because nobody had ever done that. That's acknowledging me to a whole nother level, right? And there's other people that don't even have that don't even get that level of like somebody naming a song after you. You know, so I never thought that, and I never saw that in my forecast just to even happen. Like, oh, I can't wait till they start naming records after me. Like, you don't even think like that. So it definitely took me back. Like, damn, okay. And you know, it also was refreshing and a reset, because what he did was he made me love and all the things that I love. He loves them. Like, and he makes you appreciate. He makes you appreciate stuff like that, like the car on the desk right there. Like, you know, I collect toys. You know this, and so the things that I do, sometimes people come to my studio, they like, why you got all these toys in there? But he came to the studio and he's like picking them up, looking like, my son will go crazy over this. And he just make you appreciate the stuff that you actually already do.
I was gonna ask, you know, both of you guys are very underrated in your both crafts, right? So, you know, Currency, you've been out for so long, you put up so many records, and I feel like the world doesn't necessarily give you the credit you deserve. And the same thing with yourself, JD. Do y'all have those conversations?
I don't understand.
Yeah,
we'll talk about it.
We don't have the conversation, like, but we just, it's an understanding, like, you know, that's why we do what we do. But we also know, like, the ceiling that's almost over you by not being an asshole and waving your own banner and demanding that people give you accolades and notice what you did. We just keep putting the numbers up. The shit work. You know?
I feel like you have to do that when you're from the South, though.
Yeah,
and the reason I say
if you want people to if you want that, then you have to do that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If you just want to take care of your family, pay the bills, and ball out on your own accord, then you don't have to do it. Like I always say, like I still want to go to Walmart and look for Hot Wheels and shit, you know. But I want to go in a Ferrari or something, so I work hard enough to do that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not worrying about the other shit that come with it, like those being in those circles and doing all that shit. That don't do nothing.
Because all the guys up north will always be like, oh, I'm the king of New York, I'm the king of hip-hop. Wayne didn't get in the conversation until he said he the best rapper alive. T.I. didn't get into the conversation until he said he the king of the South. Yeah. I feel like when you from the South, you have to say it.
You have to, you know. But or you could just stack your paper up.
Yeah.
That's really what matters. That's really what matters.
JD, do you feel like you started popping your shit a little too late?
Nah. I mean, it's hard to even say that, because that's what I'm on Cribs. I'm popping shit, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I think people start paying attention too late. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I was popping shit at 19. I don't think people start paying attention to Jermaine Dupri till like I was 25, 26 years old. Because even now, when people start speaking of like the records I did, they leave Crisscross completely off that whole list, right? So half of my existence in the popping shit era, you know, people didn't, you know, it wasn't no Breakfast Club when I did Money and the Thing. Just imagine if it was. I would have brought the stacks in here. We would have, you know what I mean? It would have been. It wasn't no Breakfast Club when we was doing that, right? And then people weren't even throwing money. We was the first guys on TV throwing money in a video, right? So, I just think people just they weren't in that era of when this happened. And then they start hearing that they should compare me to somebody, right? And then that's where the lack of it happening came from. And then I'm from the South. I represent Atlanta, right, to the fullest. So therefore, the South always gets slighted. It just is what it is. It's not a oh no we don't. It's a true fact. We get slighted.
Not as much anymore.
Huh?
Not as much anymore.
Nah, really, we just really got dissed really bad recently at the Grammys.
With,
yeah. No limit.
Yeah.
No 2 Live crew.
No
Luke
2 Live
Skywalker
crew.
is
Yeah.
the
right.
Listen, Luke Skywalker is the reason that the parental advisory sticker
right.
is on every rap
right.
record in the world.
You're right.
How do you do a hip hop 50 and you do not put the person who put that sticker on these records
That's right.
on the show?
That's right.
He could talk on the mic. He ain't have to rap. He could have just came out and for representation. And I feel like if you're gonna slight Luke, they gonna always slight Jermaine Dupri. Because I'm saying I don't think I did the parental advisory thing. I haven't done anything that's that monumental to. This is forever in hip hop, right? This was on your mixtapes. This is forever. This is something that everybody had to feel because of what they did in Miami, and you can't put that man on the show.
Right.
That's a fact.
Yeah. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah,
Luke wouldn't
when
survive
he
this era.
brought that to
I don't
my
want them to start
attention,
digging
yeah.
up old Luke shit. They start digging up old Luke shit. They're gonna try to get Luke out of here in 2023.
Luke ain't gonna care.
Nah. He ain't gonna care.
But do you ever look back and think about, some of the things that you've created, right? Like, because it's a lot of this stuff came from the tree of Jermaine Dupri and So Def, right?
Yeah.
People that worked for you, that was intern, people that you employed. Do you
Yeah.
ever look back at that and be like, this is from my tree and most people don't know?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. By the way, yesterday we had a listening party last night. But prior to that, we was getting ready for the listening party. We was doing a photo shoot, and they was playing "Never Scared," right? And he was like, "Why?" He was like, "Why are they playing this song?" And I'm like, "That's my artist." And he was like,
And
"What?"
I was like, "This, all right." I was like, "What playlist is this?" And like, So Def. I'm like, all right. So they played the ones for sure they're supposed to play. Like after Bow Wow, Bounce With Me went off, Bone Crusher came on.
Right.
So I was like, oh, they just mixing it up, like playing some stuff
that,
related
though.
to.
I knew that.
I
knew
didn't
He
that.
said
know
Currency didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't know that. And then when he was talking to me about that shit, the Youngbloods record came on.
Yep.
And
Lil Jon and them. Yeah.
And I was like, so this one too, you know what I'm saying? That fucked me up. Like I didn't even know. Like he was like, yeah, nah, they were signing.
Yeah, Little John used to work for Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah, this is the tree that you speaking of. Yeah, all this stuff.
See, when that's what I'm saying. If he don't know this, right? Then
I
don't
didn't know
even- it
he
don't
was
even-
in. He was in the restaurant with Escape and them in the video. That's all I knew. I was like, this nigga did all that.
You
shit.
had to know
I
that
didn't
Escape
I
was
did not
JD
know.
artist.
No, I knew
Oh,
that.
okay.
I'm
Okay,
saying
okay.
that's the ones I knew.
Got you.
I didn't know that he did that album for Youngblood, and I had no idea Bone Crusher.
You knew the
was
franchise
I
boys,
didn't
right?
know. Yeah, I know all the people. I
Okay.
knew
if
they
you
was his
see me,
artists.
if you hear
Got
me,
you, got
then
you,
Yeah,
you
I
got
know
you,
it.
saw
got
it.
you.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
But I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
So it's crazy because they put this list out of executives, I think yesterday or whatever the thing was, like the top 10 CEOs, and somebody was asking me, do I think I should be high on the list? And I don't care about that list, but I should be higher, but because I'm sure they did the exact same thing he's doing. They not even factoring in half of the artists that's come from this tree that you speak of.
But history has to matter, right? Because you can't have a Mount Rushmore of Atlanta without Jermaine Dupri on it.
Yeah, but
So if Atlanta's, if the way people revere New York, right? They're gonna put the architects of New York on. So you got to put the architects of Atlanta on.
Yeah, I just think that Atlanta, modern day Atlanta is so hip hop, and I was doing both. You know what I mean? I'm responsible for a lot of R&B that comes from Atlanta, and I'm responsible for a lot of hip hop from Atlanta, and I feel like the mindset of now when they talk about it, CEOs today, it's all hip hop. It's all hip hop. So even in that space, people try to like, I didn't know you did Anthony Hamilton. You know what I mean? It's like you try to move out a lot of the things, and it's just I think it's just people just not living in the eras or not knowing. If you don't see me, because it's crazy because I'm the only person that I feel like if I put my tag on my record, if I put the tag on the record, they know. But if I don't say nothing, I just try to be straight CEO and just like I'm putting out records, people don't ever mention me doing them songs.
So when you do projects like this, is it something? You feel like you got something to prove?
What, this project?
Yeah. when you do
Nah.
Okay,
I mean, I feel like this project is really who I am. This project is really where I actually come from. This is rap. This is how I started. It's a reminder to let people know that though, because I think, like I said, when people start talking about Jermaine Dupri, the first name that come out of people's mouth is Mariah Carey or Usher or all of these, I'm a hip hop guy. You know what I mean? I write songs, you know, with the gift that God gave me, but I'm from the hip hop world, and that's what it is.
What makes you work with newer artists like we seen you did Division's album? What makes you say, you know what, I'm gonna dive into some of the new artists that are not mine as well?
I mean, that's how I always. I mean, that's what I did always. I mean, Usher became a staple of mine because I did the same thing as I did with Division. When I did Usher, nobody, you know, Usher, the face was gonna drop Usher. It was like Jermaine either works or all of y'all, it's out the door. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I've always been that guy that just like, I don't have no problem working. Y'all believe in the artist? I like the artist. Let's go in the studio. So I don't never have I don't even look at it like that. And I had to do that at first, but then when I did Ari Lennox and her record went #1, I was like, why am I not doing this for all these other artists out here? They need it. It ain't even like a thing that I'm doing for me. They need it. They need somebody in the studio with them that can help them take them to the next level.
Now,
When you hear the conversations, like when you hear them say Usher versus Chris Brown in the Verzuz, I think Chris is dope, but I think Usher got nuclear weapons. I just think it's a difference between the 20 Usher would come with and the 20 Chris would come with. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I think that it's still once again it's the same. It's like hip hop. It's like Currency, right? He got way more records than a bunch of people, right? I think that's where people look at it. They think about how many records Chris has and how many times they hear him. You hear Chris 100 million times more than you hear Usher. So I think that's where people start basing verses on. You're speaking on songs. People don't even listen to songs past 30 minutes, right? I be watching my daughter play a record and the verse don't even get done. She don't get through 16 bars. She going to another song, right? So they don't measure the songs like you're saying. So I feel like the young generation, they all gonna say Chris Brown because they not measuring how big the songs are. But if you a song person, you know for sure what's up. Yeah.
So you think Usher will wash him is what you're saying?
I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
if you a song person, half of them songs is mine, so I'm a fight for my records. Yeah.
Now, I want to ask Currency too. You've been independent for a long time.
Yeah.
Now break
The
that
bulk
down.
of my success, like really everything that anybody like really like noticed or the bread. Anytime I got picked up money, it was all through the independent thing.
So now you're independent. You have to do everything yourself. You have to pay producers, pay clearances, everything.
Yeah.
Does that get tiring?
Nah, I got my homeboy. You know what I'm saying? Musa dude. You know we like split everything, so it's easy. It's easy as shit.
So when you hear people talking the independent route, do you think I've been doing this for a long time and it ain't as easy as they think, or the thing where when people say independent?
I just said it's easy, really, because as long as you get out your own way and handle it and stop comparing yourself to other people in these situations, like just do your work. And when you look up, you know what I'm saying, you'll realize what you've done and where you at. That's the whole thing. Independent people, like, always, you keep fucking with the phone and watching what everybody else doing, these people with these machines behind them and all that shit, then you'll feel like you're on the treadmill. If you just do your work, then you'll do it, you know.
What's the most you ever got offered from a label? Because I know they offered you.
Man, you know, they come with like a couple of $1 million, but it don't matter at this point now because like we see it, so it's straight. That's the blessing. I always used to see like when Master P turned down the deal that they tried to offer him because he knew what he was making and the way they structured that, I'm like, yeah, that was dope. But now we just flat out don't have to talk to him at all, you know. Just fuck it. We already making that shit. It's just as much as you want to roll, as many times you want to start the bus and get on the road, go pick the money up. That's the whole thing with the independent route. You building your listeners and then you just go to see them. And just you pretty much a pop-up shop yourself. You just go and travel. People who want to shop with you, they going to pull up. You're going to make your bread.
So it's more the touring and the merch that...
Yeah, for sure. The music is like the advertising for everything else we have. Like I can only speak on Jet Life, you know what I'm saying? But as long as we keep pumping the music out, we'll always be able to move the clothes and shit like that. And we about to drop furniture and everything else now. So
What gave you the idea?
Yeah, well, I mean, it goes with the lifestyle. You know, you're doing pretty good. You're probably gonna kick back a little bit. So you know, we're gonna put out some couches and some
with
shit
joint
like
holders,
ashtrays and such built in. You know what I'm saying? With lumbar support for you to be stoned and hang out and watch the TV and shit. We're thinking this all the way out. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask you, what made you create Jet Life, the clothing brand? And you know, it'd be nice if you know you furnished this place up here.
We could do that. We'll definitely put y'all down when we come with the furniture, and we'll send big enough boxes of clothes to everybody too. You know.
Yeah, what made you create that? Because it does so well.
Well, I always was into like fashion. I always wanted to like put stuff on, and some shit was not out. Some ideas then shit that I missed. A lot of clothing lines stopped doing stuff that I like, and I was like, all right, I know what to do. We'll just do our own shit. And keep it in that vein of the stuff I missed, and that's what works out for us.
Are you ever surprised with the amount of support you get from the clothing line?
Yeah, I see it everywhere. Like,
I just saw you.
I think I'm your biggest model, bro.
I just saw you.
Don't call yourself
do
a
your
model.
thing,
I am a
bro.
model, sir.
Nah,
I am a
bro,
model, sir. I am. I am, sir. I am.
Nah, bro, you are a great spokesperson
See?
for the brand. I didn't say model.
You ain't gonna say
Spokesperson.
model?
You know what I'm saying?
Spokesperson.
I am a model, sir.
How's that?
I am a model. You can call me
All
model.
All right, so look, man, I am surprised. I'm places where I don't expect to see it, and motherfuckers have it on. And you could tell, like, that they know that they have it on. It's not like some kid gave it to his mom and she's at the grocery store. I'm talking about people in the know, such as yourself, who have it on. Like Nas, after he wins the Grammy, he's got the Jet Life jacket on. And like Lotto had a freestyle that went everywhere, and she had the Jet Life Letterman jacket on and shit. So it's like, even though I'm not in those rooms, I'm still in those rooms and shit. So it's tight because they know what I mean. You know, so they bring it everywhere where they feel like I should be at anyway, so it's tight. Yeah.
So, I bet you used to get high and walk around furniture stores.
What?
Nah.
You never did that?
I used to get roasted and go to the aquarium, the
Okay.
zoo and stuff like that, yeah, but not furniture.
So how'd you get a
stores.
love for furniture?
I like to chill,
Mhm.
and it's all about finding like comfortable chilling stuff, so we're going to make our own. Same reason, like out of necessity. Same reason we did Jet Life clothing, you know what I'm saying? Like we need better stuff to chill on, so I'm gonna fill the void.
So you be sitting in the couch like this. I don't
I'm
like
like,
this.
I don't like this motherfucker. Like the higher I get, I'm like, you know what? This shit is not really for niggas to kick it on. So,
Word.
so we're working on it, you know.
What made y'all name the album? I mean, the record Essence Fest.
Oh, dig. Well, you want to speak to that?
Yeah. Well, it's a rivalry between the Falcons and the Saints. This is a real thing, right? And for the longest, when we first started working, I was like, you know, if we're going to do an album, once we got past the first 10 songs, I kept thinking in my head, if we're going to do an album, we have to make something that speaks to that rivalry. Or we can't act like, because we ain't supposed to be cool when that game come on. Right? So we can't act like we don't know this. Like, this is something that you know. If you're from Atlanta, you know that. If you're from New Orleans, you know that, right? So then we both start trying to find out why it's a rivalry. But then it's also a love there. It's a love that, you know, if you're from Atlanta, you talk about going to Essence Fest in January. It don't happen till July, right? This is something we prepare for all, like, the top of the year. People like, yeah, you know, they getting their clothes ready in January to go to New Orleans. And I feel like it's vice versa. When people come to Atlanta for the games from New Orleans, they come out there and they have a good time. They love the city. So it's a love-hate situation. And I think the one thing that brings that love and that hate together is the Essence Fest, right? So it was just only right. And then once we got the bounce, the record, and it was the bounce and the vibe, and he had never rapped over a record like that. Now that he's a full-fledged professional artist, it just made sense to like bring all of that in and not leave one piece of that out. And I think the Essence Fest brings every piece of it together.
The fact that the first time you heard Get the Gat
I heard
was
it
at a party
in the
for
Essence
Fest. That's when he first heard it. So
Yeah.
you know the way my mind works. I'm like, nah, that's it. The gavel dropped right then. That's the name. That's the name of it. What you talking about?
Get the Gat. That's a New Orleans classic, right?
Yeah, I told him like it's in the fiber of all the music that ever came out after it from New Orleans.
Really? Explain.
Everybody who rap has rapped over that beat. Like the first rap you ever wrote was over that. I promise. Like any club you ever been to, you could have been 11 years old. If they knew you could rap, that was the beat they put on for you. They gave you the mic in front of everybody. Nah, this little nigga can rap, and you had to rap over that shit, like straight up. So everybody know it. You know?
Wow.
Now, JD, did you create 106 Park?
Yeah. I mean, you know, see, the funny part about this, the funny part about this is that, I didn't speak about. I mean, I'm a CEO, right? So this goes into the world of like what we was just talking about. If you don't see Jermaine Dupri working, you don't see me doing what we got to do, then you're gonna always you're not gonna believe anything that happens, right? Because when Charlamagne just said I want to reverse this and ask you a question. When you say I don't get the respect that I'm supposed to get, how do you feel when you see something that you didn't think was gonna work that's mine, and it works? How do you feel about that? I mean, I don't know if it shouldn't make you feel anyway. You probably don't care, but I'm just saying, like,
I never thought about it, but if I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, why would anybody doubt somebody who's made several things work?
Okay, but I'm saying, so when I brought the kids from the rap game here, remember this? You was like, oh, nobody want to see no kids rap.
Yeah. Now Layla, out of here.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's what I'm saying. How does that make you feel? Like, it don't make you like feel like, oh, Because I'm saying that's what's happened, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing that's happened here, right? If you,
well, what I should say is, JD, congratulations again.
yeah. So,
You know what I mean?
but nobody says that. Nobody's gonna say that. Nobody's gonna say congratulations. But I'm saying, I say that to say that if I wouldn't have brought them here, y'all saw the kids. You seen them from scratch before they was ever anybody, right?
Absolutely.
If you didn't see it and nobody else, and people have forgot about that show at this point, and I said, I created a TV show that introduced you to Lotto. Somebody would challenge that and be like,
Yeah.
somebody would challenge you and say, no, you didn't. And you know what I mean? Like, so it's the same thing. When I saw MTV TRL, right? I used to drive down the street because we was working. I was working here. I drive down the street. I see all these kids outside in Times Square, and I'm like, damn, why black kids don't have a show like this, right? Meanwhile, I'm making the Bow Wow record, and I'm like, BET needs to do this. Now, if they had this idea in their mind prior to me saying this, then God bless them. But I'm saying, what artists was they gonna launch that show with? Because I provided the artists that made that show what that show became, right? It wasn't no Chris Brown before Bow Wow. It wasn't no Lil Romeo before Bow Wow. It wasn't no Littles, and I think somebody got mad at me for saying the Little because
I disagreed with that. That was mad Littles.
It was a Lil Kim.
It was a Little John.
Yeah, but
I'm young generation.
I'm talking about the Littles. I'm clearing this up. I meant the Littles of his era. Not the Little Johns. Yeah, it's always been a little person forever.
Got you.
I'm just saying, I'm talking about all of Lil Romeo's, Zayn, like who, I mean, I don't know, you know what I mean? These people that came in that Bow Wow lane, that's what I meant. But I'm still saying, if people don't realize that, you know, that's why, and people don't even understand that. I'm the one who gave Bow Wow the name Mr. 106 in Park. BET didn't give him that name. So why would I name him that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I put that in a verse to say I'm Mr. 106 in Park?
So why wouldn't Stephen Hill just acknowledge that? Because he said it wasn't true. He said JD just didn't create one.
I believe that, you know, I don't work at BET.
Gotcha.
Right? So if you and I have a conversation, you don't come back to this office and tell everybody I talked to Jermaine for 2 hours, 3 hours on the phone. You just gonna come back in here and say, Envy, let's do this.
I don't do that. I like to give people their credit.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't about me. Yeah. I didn't want the credit for 106 in Park, right? I'm not even saying, I'm not speaking on it now about me wanting the credit. What I was speaking on that show was the fact of what I do for my artists, right? When you are part of what I'm doing, I'm gonna call Envy and be like, dog, they said we couldn't come to the Breakfast Club. What's happening? I'm gonna take that extra mile to do what I have to do to make sure that my artists get that stretch, right? And that's all I was saying. I put a call in to Stephen Hill and say, yo, we need to do a show that looks like blah, 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 because I have this new artist by the name of Bow Wow. Is that me making it? I don't know. But I know that that's what happened. So, you know what I'm saying? And people can take it however they want to take it.
I don't understand you and Bow Wow's relationship either.
Yeah, why don't you just grab him, put him in the headlock, give him a nugget, and then y'all good? Because
It ain't even that. It's just
y'all family.
It's all good.
when he says things like he regrets signing to you, it's like your JD made you a superstar.
I think the outside world, you know, it's the same thing I said. You kids of today and this generation of hip hop, we have a lost appreciation for things, right? And that's why I said about being with Currency. It's you everywhere I go, I'm seeing people don't have appreciation for hip hop. And that has become a thing in hip hop now, to not appreciate the things that came and got you to this space, right?
But
And
what was the turn though? Because he was like a father figure to him.
Yeah, but I
and
feel
now
like,
he was like his son.
I feel like the outside world makes you not appreciate that. That's what I'm saying. That's what it does. It's the hip hop world that we live in right now don't appreciate shit. Like, for real. Like, when I wore the high top fade the other day in the video, right? It's people on there that's so much more concerned with me thinking that I want to wear this at my age and saying I'm going through a midlife crisis, as opposed to looking at it and saying, damn, that's some shit that hip hop, that's what you would do if you was what hip hop did, right? Hip hop made niggas do any and everything.
Right.
And we never had a problem. We never questioned it. It was because it was hip hop. And now, if you do something that hip hop makes you do, or if you even try to, there's no appreciation for it. And I think that's what that is. And I feel like Bow Wow is in that space where he has to deal with you guys, he has to deal with younger guys, and the media definitely don't appreciate nothing, right? They don't until it's over with.
But it's just certain people like I'm never gonna fight with, right? We could fight behind the scenes. I'm never gonna fight with Clue, right? That's my brother. I'm never gonna fight with Fab. Even you, I'm not gonna fight with you. You know, we could get into an argument, but it just seems something else was there, which is just hard to understand. Because I've been there.
I'm not gonna fight.
I know that, but you know, fight and argue. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I don't have no reason to argue. I mean, I feel like I understand it. I understand.
I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. You don't understand it because you haven't had to deal with a person that has to go through this. A rapper, right? You're a rapper. You say this. You're a rapper, and people challenge you if you write your lyrics. People challenge you on this. People challenge you on that. That it's hard for a person to actually deal with that. If you're not prepared for it, right? Me, like, I don't give a fuck what nobody don't say about me, because I know what I do. And I know I'm outdoing everything that damn near everybody else is doing. So I'm not even paying no attention to it. But the majority of people, they can't deal with it. That's why the Instagram is the way the Instagram is, because every time somebody says something, people are, right? And I feel like that's where he is. He gets caught up in that, and he's got caught up in that a lot, right? Without me being around, he got caught up in that. They created the Bow Wow challenge. I wasn't a part of that, right? How do you deal with that as a person, right? He had to deal with it, and you killed him, right? And just listening to this, you know what I'm saying?
you part of it, Charlamagne.
You know what I mean? And it's like, when a person is dealing with that, they just get tight, and they want to, you know what I mean? So then you want to try to like make it seem like you got it all. You got it all on you. You know, it's your thing.
Own. I
you got it. It's my thing. So it's like, it's just a situation where you gotta know how to deal with it, and you don't get coaching by this. I didn't coach him. I didn't teach him how to deal with that part of life.
But he has to know somebody eventually is going to do that to him too. And they do it. Like, people will take away, act like Bow Wow has just always been on Instagram. It's like, nah, Bow Wow, full-fledged superstar.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's no appreciation for anything in hip-hop anymore.
Damn, you feel that way, Currency, too?
No, as he's saying it, I'm peeping it around like that. That is insane. They just wiped that all out. That's crazy.
Do you feel like people don't have appreciation for hip-hop?
Do I feel like what?
People don't have an appreciation for hip-hop.
They don't have appreciation for
things.
What brought them into it? Like, what made you want to do it? That's all. You know what I'm saying? It's not why you want to do it. Everybody's doing it now. Like, the same reason everybody started selling Frenchie puppies. Like, they just want to get money. It's just a flip. You know what I'm saying? It's not no real love in it no more.
Are you selling Frenchie puppies?
No.
Oh, I didn't reason
But
said
I know.
I thought he was gonna say drugs. He said Frenchie
people see
puppies.
that
Got the
that's a
drugs
way.
too.
Yeah, people see that that's a way. Like,
Money,
that's
yeah.
the new dope. So they're like, fuck it, let's just do this right quick.
Now let me ask you a question. JD and Puff supposed to do a versus. Who you got your money on?
I got to roll with JD. Basically, based on all of the shit that I'm finding out, like, oh, you did this, you did that. Like, yesterday, I had like a revelation. I'm like, I don't know how this would actually look when you're reigning these artists. Like, people gonna be the same way I was shocked, and I think I'm like born in the game. I know everything, you know what I'm saying? But I was like knocked on my ass yesterday on some shit. So that's what's gonna be, a whole arena of people like, oh, I didn't know he did. Oh wait. All right, well, yeah, shit, I don't know. Goddamn, you know, like that. That's what's gonna happen. That's the way I see it, straight up. Like, I don't know how many records Puff will bring out that I'm gonna be like, I didn't know you did. I think I know you did.
Most of the records he did.
I think I know it, you know. So,
how you feel about it, JD? Because a lot of people don't think you can match up.
Cat out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I just look at it. I actually see it. I see the chart, right? You know what I mean? It's like,
But like you said, it's not only the records; it's also the what that record did for the culture, right? And the feeling.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not. It's like I said, I'm like I said about the Chris Brown thing. I believe that in Verzuz world, people won't give it to Usher because of the way the mindset has been, been treated.
We've done that battle in here with kids like 25, 26. Usher catalog still is timeless to them because their parents was listening to Usher. So they like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about this.
They know 7 o'clock in the drop top.
Man,
like they can't get around that.
Yes.
I mean, but like I said, I feel like it's. I mean, I'm the underdog. I'm not even tripping on that though. I'm the underdog.
That's not true either though.
I'm
He's
not.
Jermaine Dupri is not an underdog.
In that thing,
yes,
if
the
it was a
underdog.
Vegas card, I think
Yes,
that
he'd be the
everybody like the
underdog.
favor would be, he would be the underdog.
To me, that's people who haven't paid attention then.
No, they haven't. But that's what I'm saying. I'm the underdog because it's
Those are
like
the people who run
everybody,
the world, though, bro.
everybody that
Motherfuckers who's
sits
not
around
really
and they
in the
say
loop. They're the ones who running this bitch.
they sit around and they say he can't match up, and they only talking about Big. That's it.
How long I've been saying that?
That's the
No,
only
you
thing.
said, no, you just say big. You said rap.
That's why I said take out. It should be a R&B remix versus. Take out the
No,
rap.
you can't do that.
Because
You
you
got more
can't
than
beat
R&B
Big
remix.
records because not only because they're great records and
Yeah.
nostalgia. Big's immortal. He's not here no more.
That's the only reason why people say he can't match up because they
Correct.
talking about Big and they talking about Big. You talking about Big. Big is big. But I'm saying if it was a fight, I don't go into the fight thinking I'm not gonna get punched.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's just when I throw mine and when he throw his. That's what it is. It ain't about he got punches. I got punches too. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Is it gonna happen for real or is it just talk?
No, it's gonna happen. It's bigger than what people think. What we want to do is bigger than what everybody's thinking about, and we want to make sure that it come across the way it's supposed to come across.
If y'all do it, y'all got to figure out how to do two because you can't just do one in Atlanta. You got to do one like Atlanta and New York. You
Y'all need to pick a neutral location, to be honest with you. I need to go to Charlotte or something. For real.
You got to do Atlanta. Got to do Atlanta. You got to do New York. Got to do Apollo and you got to do.
I think y'all should just do R&B and remixes.
Do R&B in one city, hip hop in another city.
Well, see, the problem with the remixes is I saw somebody saying this the other day, right? Half of Bad Boy remixes, I did them, right? So the Big Papa remix, I did it,
Right.
right? The Total and Keith Murray, I did it.
Right.
Total first record that ever came out got Brad on it, right? It's
How do you score that? How do you score that?
You got to drop those out.
You can't drop them out. That's what I'm saying. It's like, so if you do the remix, but I saw somebody saying, but in New York, we ain't play that JD remix. And I was like, oh, okay.
What remix? Yes, we did.
The Biggie Big Papa remix.
We did.
I'm just saying, I'm seeing people say that on Twitter, but I'm just saying, it's either way you do it, it's going to be a fight, whether we in New York or we in Atlanta, either way.
What came first? Was it the We Invented the Remix Bad Boy album or the definition of a remix So So Def album?
I think mine was coming first,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know which one came out first,
Yeah.
But I mean, still, I don't know. I mean, the remix thing has always been a battle between us, but it's interesting, like I said, because Puff was using me for remixes. It's not like I was a challenge for him back then. It was like, go to JD and get a remix for Big Papa. Go to JD and get a remix for Total.
I always wondered how much influence did you and Atlanta have on Big? Because we saw y'all in Big videos.
A lot.
Saw Big in y'all videos, and I remember hearing somebody say Big. I think it was Jay or somebody said Big was gonna move to Atlanta at one point. He was trying to get everybody to buy houses in Atlanta.
I mean, well, I don't know about that, but me and him talked all the time because we was on tour. It was me, Brat, and Craig Mack. We was all on tour, and we was doing like the Chitlin circuit, and in that Chitlin circuit run, Craig Mack was the hottest, then Brat, and then Big. And Big was frustrated with the fact that his records weren't as popular as Funkdafied and Flavor in Your Ear at the time. And that's actually how I got to do the remix, because Big felt like he needed me to get into that space where Brat was
What
at.
record was out during that time?
Juicy.
Juicy was out during that time.
In New York. Not on the Chitlin circuit.
Got
right?
you.
The Chitlin circuit around where we live at in Atlanta, it hadn't caught yet. So, like I said, the Flavor in Your Ear, then Funkdafied, and then Juicy. I mean, people was fucking with it, but they weren't like head over heels. And it was driving him crazy. And he talked to me every day about doing a remix. And I finally did Big Papa remix, and then that's when we did the B-side with him and Brat. He came to Atlanta. And when he came to Atlanta, yeah, he probably, because I brought him to College Park. He came to my hood and did that song, so he probably soaked up, I need to move out here. That's basically the same thing that happens to everybody when they come out there.
Did you see what one last Diddy thing? Did you see what Young Jock said about you and Diddy? He said the difference between you and Diddy is that Diddy understands marketing, and that's what he got over Jermaine Dupri.
Well, I think he said that Diddy took his artistry, him as an artist, more serious than me. He's right. I'm all about making new artists. I'm all about I was all about putting out artists. Even like this album me and Currency got. I'm rapping on the record, but I'm not rapping all over the record because, you know what I mean? That's who I am. I'm a producer first, and I've always been that way. And I think that's one thing that he was saying. But even the Jock was signed to So Def for one day before that Bad Boy deal. And Block switched it, and they went to Bad Boy.
You can do that? That's not illegal?
Yeah, I thought he signed. If he signed.
Nah. I'm saying he was signed because the person who produced the record was signed to me as a producer. So
Nitty.
Huh?
Nitty on the beat, right?
Yeah, Nitty on the Beats was signed to So Def as a producer. So I wasn't even thinking about, I wasn't even pressing because I'm like, I know this is my song. Like, we was at Virgin at this time. I'm like, I know this song is coming over here. It's easy, right? And I had already had the franchise, but we was having all the success. I'm like, it's no way possible you don't give us this record. If you find the first version of It's Going Down, it says So Def at the beginning of the record, right? So I was cool, clearly oh, we got this. I went to sleep, woke up the next morning.
How does that happen?
I mean, I didn't actually sign him, right? It's like you signed to me, and I know you're going to do the right thing for So
Oh,
Def.
got you.
And you already done said So Def at the beginning of the record. So I'm like, it's got my tag. It's got a tag on it already. We cool. I'm going to go to sleep. We'll make the deal. You know what I mean?
He said you should have stayed up.
So yeah, that was that situation when It's Going Down.
That's funny because I was even thinking about that. We having these conversations about the South and how the South don't get respect. Like I saw Jock in the interview, and the person interviewing him was like, how does it feel to have a career for 20 years with just one hit? And I'm sitting there thinking like, Jock got 7, 8 records that go off.
Yeah.
Just don't know.
That's that slight I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The South's getting slighted. I'm trying to tell you.
But you ever go back and think about the fight that you had to do that I think a lot of people don't know, which opened the doors for a lot of those Southern artists?
Nah,
I think you spoke about it before.
That's one of the other statements I said in that interview that people was like, it's all cap. Jermaine's just cap. And I'm like, all right, listen. It was a time in New York when Southern rappers was not on the radio at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? And I was frustrated. I'm like, you know what? We got to figure out how to get in. I hired Envy to introduce me to the streets of New York and move around so I could be able to so people to see my face and be more out here. Nobody from the South beat the streets like me. You know this, right?
Facts.
And the way that we beat the streets, and we made Never Scared a permanent stay record in New York.
Oh, I think they
Then
like
we
me.
put Cameron and Busta Rhymes, and we did everything to make sure that that the South was, represented well in this town. And then the Youngbloods record. And these two records became so popular in New York alone that you heard them like it was Atlanta. And to me, that was the beginning of all of these other records being heard on the radio the way they heard today. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
I don't remember, but I remember they told JD I think they like me.
Yeah.
They told JD to take the franchise boys off. Just leave it Jermaine Dupri and Bow Wow in the bracket. And that's the only way that they were going to spin it in New York.
So there was no mind playing tricks on me. Didn't play. No limit.
Not like this. I'm talking about midday,
rotation.
no mix show.
Yeah.
All them records was mix show. I'm talking about no mix show. Just you turn on the radio and you hear these records, you never heard the South.
No
Pole.
Outcast.
Not like this. Not like
Wow.
this.
Wow. With everybody selling their catalogs, you think y'all two would ever think about selling y'all's?
I understand why people do it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. They call me with $400 million. Well, all right, well, shit, you know, how many generations of us are going to be okay off this 400 tickets?
Word.
You know, maybe we'll fucking do it. I don't know.
I'm waiting for all my reversions. Y'all don't hear people talk about that much, but I'm waiting on mine because everything that came out in 92 is coming back to me 100%. Everything that came back in 93, 94 is coming back to me 100%. I wrote 100% of all of Escape Records. I wrote 100% of Crisscross. I wrote 100% of Usher My Way. When they come back,
What you mean when they come back?
that's because I have a deal with Sony as a publishing situation, but the reversions, it comes back to me, and I don't have a deal with them. So when the reversions come back, and somebody walk up and and they got that ticket he talking about, then it might be a conversation.
Explain that, JD, because you always been the CEO. So I didn't even with writers, you have to give over some of the publishing of the master.
No, you make a publishing deal when you're younger, right? I made a publishing deal when I was 19. That's when I got my money. They gave me, you give me $1 million. That's the first $1 million I got from the Sony. And it's like a joint. It's like a 50-50 split publishing situation. And then, I've been over there since I was 19, which is a long time. But they get all the songs. So all the songs that you make, they go into this thing. And I've recouped 2-3 times, right? I could have left a bunch of times, but I stayed. And so I'm just waiting now because by the way, when I start writing songs, to hear that in 25 years you get your reversions or whatever, I never even thought I'd make it that long. So I'm saying I'm here. I'm past that point at this point now. So now I'm like,
Yeah, it's coming back.
come on.
So damn, at one point Michael Jackson owned half your publishing.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever talk about that?
Nah. Because I mean, it's not even thought about from that type of perspective. But yeah, because I mean, at the time when, because that was after. It was after because Sony. It was EMI at first.
Okay.
So Sony bought EMI. Michael Jackson bought the company that I was in business with at that point, or ATV or whatever it is, and that's when they turned it in there. So at first, the beginning of my career wasn't like that.
But later on it was.
Yeah, later on.
Wow.
Did you see the Janet Jackson documentary? And of course you've seen it. And people were trying to get you to get back with Janet. Did you see that? Like the memes are going on and saying that y'all will be a perfect couple. You ever thought about rekindling that?
I don't think I thought about it. It's not a thing I'm sitting around thinking about. If it happened, it happened.
Even when you smoking with Currency, that high grade weed, don't cross your mind.
Man, he's a hookah champ. I tried for 2 years of knowing him to pass him a joint. He don't get down.
Not even close.
He smoke hookahs.
Do you still get high, Currency? Does it still impact you in that way?
Nah, it's just it just levels everything off.
Yeah.
I think I get higher the more sober I get. Like the further removed away from weed I am. Like if I'm stuck in the airport or something, I start like being hilarious because I'm becoming more sober. Yeah.
Jesus.
Do you still think you got a great ear, JD?
A great ear?
Yeah.
The greatest. You know what I mean? As far as, but I mean, I think it's like I said once again. I feel like it's unappreciated. Because people don't care about that anymore. You know what I mean? People don't care if you find an amazing singer. They want to know if that amazing singer, it's like crazy. Like if a person is actually really, really talented and they come from church, they probably only got 2 followers on Instagram, right? The business that we in, they could be Aretha Franklin. And you could take them to the label right now and they'll be like, do she got 100,000 followers? We'll wait till she come. We'll wait and come back and see when you got a little bit of followers. What is that? Like, right? So it's like to question my ear. That's my ears. I'll find Aretha Franklin and somebody will be like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, 'cause it's not about that no more.
Yeah,
it's about who she's dating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If she got into a fight somewhere, is there footage of it? Now
TikTok dances.
Now let's drop this. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's how people felt about the Division record, though. It was like this record feels like a gimmick as opposed to a classic R&B record that a JD would be attached to.
I don't. You know what I think. This is what I think is. I think that it's the 5th album, right? So first of all, the people that sang that, they just learned who they were through me.
That's true.
My channels are very much hey, right? If they on their 5th album, how is it a gimmick? It's like this is their 5th record.
Right.
You just learned about Division. You just found out who they were because they got a record that's on the radio, right? And Jermaine Dupri and Brian Cox did the song. Cool. And it's controversial because it's saying something. But you just, I just think, I honestly feel like what Chris Rock has been saying, the selective
outrage
weighs heavy on me. It just does. Because, right now, Division has one of the biggest songs on TikTok with the Touch It, right? And people keep complaining that I keep over posting it. I'm like, it's my record. What I'm supposed to do, right? And it's like, when other people do that, don't nobody say nothing.
When that 2 times said, it's cool when I do it. It's cool when they do it.
Fuck them. It's cool when they do it. When I do it, fuck them.
Yeah, see, so that's what it is. I just think it's that selective outrage. And it's you can say that, but you just learned who Division was.
Right. Well, JD and Currency got to go.
Oh, last question. SWV Escape. Who opens up?
Ooh.
We just heard that discussion this week.
Yeah, I heard that was pretty sticky.
I want to hear from both of y'all. Think about all the records they got.
If I was still like the front running mindset of Escape, I would let Escape open.
Why?
Because the pain that they gonna put in before, coming after Escape is hard. They really sing. It's not like fuck all the bickering and beef. They really can sing, right? So it's like, and I'm not saying SWV can't. But
because Coco's otherworldly. Coco can sing.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying they can't sing. I'm just saying I've always had that mindset. I've always had that mindset about me as an entertainer. Like, let me go first, right? Because I feel like it's harder for the person to figure out what they got to do afterwards. I remember seeing Jay-Z saying that he went on after DMX one night. And DMX took his shirt off, and he started pouring water on him, and he was backstage like, man, what the fuck I'm going to do when I come out there? That is the mindset that you have, right? Until you get out there and the crowd make it different. But put that pressure on the person, make them sit back there and try to figure out what they're going to do when they come out. That's what I would do.
See, I think they should do different markets, right? SWV, New York, certain areas, I think they should close. But Atlanta, Escape got to close in Atlanta.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't even argue about it. I just because I personally feel like that closing first thing. I feel like that's just all. It's mental. I remember going to the Triple Threat concert, right? And it was Al B. Sure, BBD, and I want to say Bobby Brown, right? And I love all of them. BBD was busting Bobby Brown ass, for the time period that they came in. Bobby brought, he did what he had to do in pulling up the rib. But I'm just saying, them being where they were, it wasn't a bad slot. It's not a thing that I was thinking about like, damn, BBD should have closed. They was killing it. I mean, Poison was at the height at Poison at the time when I saw this. So it felt like they should have closed. But, when Bobby came on and Tenderoni and all these records came on, you realize why he was the closer, right? So I just feel like me personally, I look at that performance slot thing different.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you pick up the album, Jermaine Dupri Curren.
For motivational use only.
Appreciate you guys for joining us.
Four.
Yep.
All right. Well, it's The Breakfast Club. It's JD and Currency, y'all.
Yeah.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.